If anyone ever tells you they're ready for their fight, they're lying. How do I know that? Well, I'm Kajan Johnson, and this is something that I discovered after having 40 plus professional MMA and boxing fights, as well as training multiple MMA champions. Adaptation is really one skill, but in order for you to be able to take this video and put it into action, I'm gonna break this down into 3 pieces. Number 1 is perception. Number 2 is formulation. And number 3 is implementation. Without the ability to adapt to the enemy's tactics, formulate a new plan, and then commit to the implementation of that new plan, we leave ourselves extremely vulnerable to being knocked out, to being choked out, or to being ground out by the enemy. Every successful military general knows this. The fog of war is real. We always gather intelligence on our enemy's past behavior, right? We watch tape, we study their interviews. If you're really smart, you can even study their coaches and what they did in their career. You can even try to put yourself in your opponent's shoes. But once the fighting starts, all of that becomes irrelevant. The enemy may make the same mistakes that they've made in the past, but it is also very possible that they have changed the way that they will play the game in order to exploit your weaknesses. Now, unfortunately, this was a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, and it was very hard. So the year's 2014. I had just got out of The Ultimate Fighter and had signed my very first UFC contract. And my very first fight was gonna be in my hometown, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I thought that I was given a very easy opponent. I thought that the UFC really liked me because of the opponent that they gave me. The guy's name was Tai Hyun Bong. He was a southpaw that was a heavy hitter, but he didn't have a very complicated game. He had a very simple approach. Now, being that he was a southpaw, I had studied all of his fights. He had always fought southpaw, and so I was preparing to deal with an open stance situation. I was gonna be righty, he was gonna be lefty, and I was gonna hit him with my right hand, hit him with my right head kick. I had a whole bunch of weapons that were designed for southpaw, but he didn't fight me as a southpaw. He knew that I was gonna expect him to be southpaw. So he decided he was gonna fight me as a right-handed fighter. It wasn't like he just fought me for a round. He was orthodox the whole fight. And I've been fighting orthodox dudes for a long time, right? I know how to fight ortho, close stance. It's not a problem. I have that information, but it wasn't right on the tip of my brain. And I wasn't really prepared to adapt to the changing situation. I wasn't prepared to adapt to the structure that I was seeing. So regardless of me perceiving what was happening, I wasn't able to formulate, wrap my brain around exactly what changes I needed to make in order to implement the plan, in order to create a new plan that would then fit for this now orthodox, heavy-hitting juggernaut of a Korean opponent. And then I was also having some troubles implementing because I got scrambled in the first round with a big left hook, and I was really having a bit of trouble pulling the trigger because of my own fear and hesitation. Now, it was a really good fight. It was back and forth. The fans loved it, but I got knocked out in the 3rd round. If I was able to adapt to the situation properly, if I had foreseen that all of the intel that I had gathered could have been faulty, could have been not really applicable to the situation of the fight that day, maybe I would have been able to pivot a little quicker into my second strategy, into another strategy, create another strategy and then implement it. But I wasn't. And so I got knocked out. So like I said in the beginning, we're gonna break this down to 3 different steps. Number 1 is perception, the ability to perceive what is happening right now. Now that sounds really easy, but it's not very easy to do. Combat is very chaotic and your nervous system is under direct attack. So it's very difficult for you to step back and see the big picture of what is happening, what is required of me, where are they vulnerable. It's very difficult to see that picture unless you are calm. The more elevated your state of arousal, the harder it's gonna be for you to see what's going on. So we need to be calm. Now, one of the easiest ways to calm yourself is to breathe. If you're in a really excited state, you're gonna notice that you're breathing in through your mouth and out through your mouth very rapidly, very short, shallow breaths. The more you can breathe deeply, even if it's one breath, in those exchanges, in those little moments after the exchange, it's going to allow you to calm your nervous system down. It'll take you from your sympathetic nervous system operating into your parasympathetic nervous system operating. Fight or flight to rest and digest. In order to perceive, you also must be present. You can't be thinking about what's happening in the future. What happens if this guy knocks me out? What happens if I win this fight? You can't be thinking about the past. Oh, I don't think I should have ate that donut this morning. Oh, maybe I should have done more cardio in camp. You can't be thinking about past or future. You have to be right here in the present or you will fail to perceive. Last, this is the easy part. You just have to see. So open your eyes. Open your eyes and see where are their hands. Where are they putting their head? You can't do any of this if you're like this. Open your eyes and see. Number 2 is formulation. You have to formulate a plan to deal with all the information that you've just taken in through perceiving. In creating this formulation, what this really means is you have to figure out which technique or set of techniques you should start running in order to deal with the puzzle piece that the opponent is presenting. Like I was saying, I was gonna fight a southpaw and the guy came out orthodox. Well, if a southpaw comes out orthodox, what are they doing with their backhand? A lot of times, southpaws will fight like this with this front hand down, and then when they switch stance, they don't make that calculation. So that front hand becomes their backhand, and now that thing is down. If I see something like that, I know I need to try to find some sort of weapon, some technique that's gonna fit that hole. That could be a head kick, that could be a hook, that could be an overhand. But I need to have those techniques in my repertoire in order to be able to place them into that puzzle piece that the opponent has left open. This is why it's so important for us to train so many different things. This is why I'm obsessed with becoming a complete fighter. I don't wanna be a striker. I don't wanna be a grappler. I wanna be both. I wanna be somebody that can fight no matter what the situation. I want to have offense and defense at my disposal for every possible situation. This is why we need to train so much. This is why we need to study so much. This is why technique is so important. Now, if you feel like you're lacking in the technical aspect of things, I even made this course where we're going over all of the most important things to worry about when you're seeing that open stance situation. Righty fighting lefty or lefty fighting righty. If this is over your head, if you don't know the differences between closed stance, open stance, whatever, you can get it for free, just check below. Okay, so we perceived, we formulated, and now we got to implement, right? Now this is the piece that takes the least amount of thinking, and where people fail with this is by overthinking. Hesitation is a massive enemy of implementation. In order to implement, you gotta be ready to commit, and you gotta be able to commit with 100% of yourself in that direction. If I see that the guy is open for my left head kick because he was southpaw, hand is down, and then he switched to orthodox, and that back hand is down, I'm gonna be like, oh, there's the head kick. But if I second guess myself, if I stop and I think and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, oh, what could happen? I don't wanna lose the fight, oh, did I win last round? If I start getting into future, getting into past, right? If I'm not present, or if my mind is too erratic, it's gonna be very difficult for me to commit, okay? You have to commit 100% of yourself. It's not just believing that what you're going to do is going to work, because it might not work. But you have to believe your new formulation will either work or it will give you a situation that you can then continue on your chain of techniques to the next one and the next one and the next one. You have to believe that you will be able to answer the next problem. And if you are able to do this, commitment becomes very easy because you don't have to win or lose on that first technique, right? I learned this a long time ago from one of my wrestling coaches, one of the best mental coaches I've ever had, Nicholas Uguala, amazing wrestler. He told me that every single time I try something, it doesn't matter if the first one works because I have the answer for the second and the third and the fourth. So if you have the technical answer for the second and the third and the fourth, then it's easy to commit on the one because it's just an entrance, right? And it will get you into your chain so you can chain your techniques together until you're able to get to that position or submission or situation of advantage. And that's where you win. So to recap here, in order to adapt, we must perceive. In order to perceive, we must be calm, breathe. We must be present, no future, no past. past. Be here, be now. We must see. Open your eyes. In order to adapt, we must formulate. We must be able to have enough technical depth that we can see what the problem is and then choose which techniques will solve that problem, which techniques we can place into that open puzzle piece. Again, if you don't have enough technique, we created Pro Fight Guide as well. In order to adapt, we must implement. We must be able to commit 100% of ourselves to the new formulation of our strategy, and in a millisecond be able to again change to the new circumstances that the enemy is providing us. If you are new to fighting, this is literally all fighting is. All fighting comes down to this. The best fighters in the world, the John Joneses, the Muhammad Alis, the Demetrius Johnsons, they were all fantastic at this skill. So if there's one skill that you can spend the majority of your time working on, it's the skill of adaptation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found some value in it, make sure to click subscribe so that you're able to get our videos when they come out. If you could like the video, really helps out the channel. I appreciate you guys. Peace out.